All right. So thank you everybody for coming. We're gonna go ahead and get started talking about a couple of things. Um, I'm actually gonna start out. Kraken wasn't able to be here today. It's his birthday, and he had some other engagements that he was doing today. But he did want me to. He wrote something that he wanted me to read, so I'm gonna start with reading this, and then we'll kind of go from there. So Kraken says he's sorry he couldn't be here today to speak to everybody personally, but he wanted to make a statement nonetheless. When we interview, we tell everybody that we are out to make this community and not just people who log into RP together. I have seen time and time again where the community reaches out to help new players before support staff and even get a chance. I have been in the chats when friendships have been forged or other games spin up and the community joins in on the fun. This is the reason I am here to even help the city, as I personally do not roleplay very often. As I do not get in the city to roleplay, I feel my perspective is a bit unique from other staff, as I do not have a dog in the fight, so to speak. We have seen a larger influx of new players join over the last few weeks, this week especially. New players are vital to the growth and long-term success of any city, and the interest in Lineage is no doubt linked to the awesome community you guys have helped us build. We constantly hear in interviews that this person has watched so-and-so stream and the vibe of the city is something that they have been looking for, or they have been told about the city from a friend who has been in other cities and finally found one where the community lines up with what they want for their RP experience. This being said, there are a few people who are not happy with the growth the city has been experiencing and maybe not used to a new style of RP that the city has not had since its inception. New does not mean bad or that it breaks the rules. What you don't like or don't understand does not mean it shouldn't exist in the city. We have put a system in place for this, and going outside of it by bad-mouthing players, new or old, will not be tolerated in streams or in Discord chats. Removing someone from the city is not a decision we take lightly, and often it is the very last resort of many chances. It happens, though. And we are never happy to do it, but sometimes it needs to be done in order for the city to grow and evolve to be the best RP server out there. Our policy has been to not discuss player discipline with anyone other than the player receiving the discipline. I've asked for an exception to this for any actions taken recently on discipline related to the growth of the city and the actions of some players. Feel free to message me, that's Kraken, to discuss a chat. And should you have any questions arise from the staff actions in the coming days. I want to encourage you all to use this influx of players to expand upon your own RP. Never tried being in a gang, why not feel it out? See someone new who you think would make a good member of your clique, feel them out. Hang out with the new players and expand your group and yourself. Let's be as welcoming to any new face as you are welcomed by us and other players. We are open city, and players will come and go as they look for what feels best for them. Trust in the process we have in place and voice your concerns with RP or players through the proper channels. Closing this out, I want to thank everyone for their contributions to the city so far. I know we can do better as a community and be more welcoming to new ideas and new forms of RP that are outside of your comfort zone. I knew a few of these new faces from other places, and they would be a valuable, welcome part to any city I call home. To the ones that have joined that I do not know, I look forward to getting to know you through the in-game and Discord interactions. Again, that was a message from Kraken. He's one of our staff members. I think he'll probably post that somewhere in the Discord today as well when he gets time. Make sure to wish him a happy birthday as well. With that, I want to add a few things. We've done a lot of observation this week. We've been observing in Discord chats, as we always do. We've been in streams, watching people's streams. One of the reasons that we started Lineage almost a year ago now was because we wanted to eliminate some toxicity that exists in the 5M community. We've been around, me, Chief Devil, we've been around to multiple cities in the past. And, looking for the two reasons. Looking for that balance of role play where we can be serious but still have fun, and everybody kind of knows when's the right time for that. And then the other reason is there are other cities out there that are just too toxic. So we wanted to build a place where we could really say that we are a community that comes together and can help each other out and help each other grow, not only as, for our streamers, help them grow, help our peers grow and do better RP. What I have seen this past week is not what we are about. I've heard people come into chats, which is what Kraken was reflecting, both streams and Discord chats, and talk bad about players. This is not the first time that this has happened in the last 2 weeks. And it's not okay. So as a staff and city council, we've gotten together as watching over all of this, and we've made some very tough decisions. And we will not permit or allow people to talk bad about other players. You may have a bad interaction with them. You may not maybe like what they are trying to do through RP, but you will not talk bad about them unless it's maybe in an RP sense. You're not going to talk bad about them out of character. Any member of this community, it's not going to be tolerated. That's kind of what this meeting's about. I think that's all I want to say. Chief, did you want to say anything?
No, not really. You basically covered everything. I just think we got to remember we're a community. We all need to be together, not against each other. Just because someone new comes in, we want to continue to grow. I mean, I understand people get used to role playing with certain individuals, and new people come in and it kind of takes away a little bit because they're sharing more. That's a good thing. I think everyone should be excited about that, meeting new people and role playing with new people. And I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah. To kind of add to that, as new faces come into the city, right, we're constantly going to have that. Yes, this last week we've had a lot of new faces at once, more so than any real time throughout the city, right? So many new people joining, different style of RP coming in, and that's good. That's good for the city to adapt to that RP and to grow your own RP and think of various situations where you are now going to be able to get into with having so many more players in the city, right? Right now we're looking at a 64 cap. We hit that almost every day this week. We had, short times where we had 5-6 people in the queue, but we started hitting cap. So from a development and staff and ownership perspective, we're looking at, okay, when is the right time for us to increase that cap? When are we going to go from having 64 people in the server to having 90 or having 100 or 120, right? So as we look to do that, and as we, continue the development of the city needs to grow. And however that growth comes, if there's issues, that's one thing. But if you just don't like what you see, that's not necessarily a reason to go out of character and talk bad or badmouth somebody or make fun of somebody in the city. It's just not okay. That's really not what we're about. With that, I did open up the Ask a Question channel. We'll take a couple of questions. Chief, if there's a couple people in here that may want to talk, either from some of the new group or a couple of older folks, if I have them DM you, can you pass those on to me? If anybody wanted to speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys can send me a DM real quick if you need to speak.
We'll take a few questions. I do want to clarify a couple of things, just from a couple of questions that have came up this week. On the rule, hang on a second. Let me actually pop this rule up. Let me read the right terminology here. So on the robbing someone rule, there's been a lot of questions that we've taken over the last week, and we thought we clarified it, but there's still some questions on it, so we want to make sure everybody understands. So the rule is robbing someone, including the police, with the sole intent to take their weapons and or items is considered power gaming. Taking items and weapons is permitted when kidnapping somebody. So that sole intent part is really the part that matters. There's going to be situations where, you know, you may be in a shootout or you have an RP scene leading up to something, right? And there's interaction that's going on of some sort, whether it's, you know, talking or, you know, criminal acts like shootouts and stuff like that. At that time, since the sole intent was no longer just to take your items, it's maybe to continue a shootout. So to grab a gun to continue a shootout, that in itself does not violate the rule. There's no rule violation when that happens. So you can lose your items and stuff if you are downed in a shootout and somebody is trying to take your gun to continue or whatever. So the sole intent part is what people need to remember on that. Once there's interaction, the sole intent is no longer just to rob somebody in most cases. So just kind of keep that in mind as you continue on. Let's see. I hope that clears that up. I don't know. You guys can say in the meeting chat channel if it doesn't, and we'll try and go that way a little bit more. Swintel, I just want to say this city isn't used to gang RP. The crims so far have been mostly either solos, small crews, or organized crime groups. Gangland is different. It's more volatile and risky at times. It adds a more suspenseful element to areas and people you deal with. It's not a bad thing. Roll with the stories and enjoy the new element. Yes. So one of the big things that we have been pushing, right? In some people know, like we have FIB, we have the detectives really kind of pushing into, you know, investigating stuff that's going on in the city. It's not anymore about, oh, this person just robbed it, they're going to jail. No, there's more investigation into it. So, okay, this group keeps robbing something. Who is this group? What are they doing? Are they into gun running? Are they into, you know, drugs? Who killed this person, right? You know, because we've had a couple permadeaths lately. Like who is responsible for this? As more gangs and more gang RP develops, that just adds more avenues for those police interactions to really be meaningful, right? So you may pull over somebody from a gang and you realize, oh, this person is in this gang, and that could help down the road as you kind of build those relationships with those people. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. So just kind of remember that. So with that, I think we have a couple of questions. Are we going back to taking phones and radios off crims before sentencing? No. I don't believe that there's been a change in that because the city takes those items when they go to the jail. Correct, Chief? We haven't. I know the.
Yeah, the only issues that we've been having is when you guys are handcuffed, and you have your radios and phones on you. Don't be getting on your radios and talking. You know, I mean, how would you actually communicate on a radio if you're handcuffed? You guys just kind of remember some of that stuff. And I think that's why they were originally taking them off of you guys, because a lot that they were grabbing were actually getting on the radios and talking while they're handcuffed in the back seat of the cruisers.
I believe, and I'd have to do testing, but I believe when we pushed out the updates and went to Mumble, we are removing people from their radio channel when they're handcuffed now. So that should no longer be an issue. I think that was something that we added, just like you can no longer talk when you're downed. I believe we implemented both of those when we did that. So I'm gonna move on for a second and take a couple of these questions.
Did you see the DM I just sent you?
It wants to talk about radios.
This section while you're on it.
Okay. Let me find him real quick. I guess I could just open this up to request to speak, and then we'll kind of sprinkle a couple of these in as we go. So if anybody wants to speak, you should now be able to request to speak, and then we'll kind of sprinkle some in here. I know Gaza wanted to say something about the radios real quick.
I got one more coming to you here in just a second. I'm just sending this to you now.
Yeah. So I'll take Gaza, and then we're gonna take Prox, and then we'll answer a few questions. Gaza, you wanted to say something about radios. You should be able to come on up to the stage and say that now. Maybe, if he knows how to do it. You have to accept the invite to speak once you've requested. There you go.
Alrighty, so yeah, what I was saying with the radios and like the phones and everything and that while you're in the cells and everything, just stop. It's not it's that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in other communities where they do it. It doesn't. It shouldn't happen here. What I've been seeing a lot lately is people that are going onto Twitter while they're in their cells on their phones, when realistically, if you think about it, you would not have your phones or anything, and that while you're in the cells, it's just not fun. Like, you have people that watch streams and everything, and they're just like, why are they on their phones? Like, what is going on here? And that's what's been prompting a lot of us as LEO to take your phones and everything off you and give them back to you before you actually get sentenced and get taken into jail. That way you have your phone on you when you get out. Like, it's just getting to the point where that's essentially what's happening. And I know I'm probably, if it does keep on happening, I personally will probably put in a couple of tickets, but yeah, it should not be happening. You shouldn't be communicating over Twitter or calling people on the phone while you're inside the cell.
Yeah, I agree. We don't want to go back to. Thank you, Gaza. I don't think we want to go back to taking phones and radios, because there's a built-in mechanism to actually do that for us, and then you guys don't lose those. But if it continues to be an issue, put a payphone in the prison. Well, I mean, the city already takes the phones, takes all of your items when you go to prison. So, and then you get those back after you come out. If we have to, and it's something that continues to happen even after we pull the radios and stuff, or excuse me, even after we pull you out of the radio, if we see that continuing to happen, it may be revisited by the police command, which I'm no longer part of, and I love being able to say that. So, let's take a couple, or I'm sorry. Before I take a couple questions, I'm going to invite Prox up to speak. Prox is one of the new folks who may be doing some design stuff for us.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
It's going.
No one can answer. Awkward.
I know, right?
Yeah, right. I'll assume that everyone said fine. I just Glitchy is busy right now. He's listening on the meeting, but he couldn't talk. But I just wanted to take a quick second to introduce a lot of the new folks that are coming in. As some of you may know, Glitchy was doing New District. It was kind of a server he had started up and had some RP differences with the other folks there, and that's why we're kind of coming over here, because we have heard good things about the RP, and we've seen really great things from the city since we've been here. But a lot of the folks that are coming over from New Districts are still learning RP, and they wanted to come here because they see that there's actual story-based and dialogue-based RP happening over here. So I know we came in, and a lot of us are doing gang activity and doing crimes and everything, but Glitchy will yank somebody out of our group, the Thugs, in a second if they're not doing RP right. But for those of you who don't know, the Thugs have been around. I think he started them about 4 years ago. Everybody kind of giggles at the name a little bit sometimes, but he was trying to create something new that fit with GTA lore. Him and the other folks that did it, but even though a lot of the gang RP if you're not used to it, it can look toxic. There's a lot of story to be had there. If you get kidnapped, or if you run into trouble with the police or things like that. So we are not scumlords. We are here to create stories, and we're here to RP. So yeah, that's who we are as a group. And again, a lot of the folks that are coming over from New District with Glitchy and with us, they are new to RP, and New District was their first city, so they are still learning. But the ones that are coming over here are the ones that want to learn and want to get better at it. So give them a chance, even though they may not be used to doing things the way that you all are. I think that's mostly everything that I had to say.
All right, thank you, Prox. We'll kick you off the stage now.
While we have a second, just let everybody know I'm not at my PC today, so that's why I'm not really talking. But I just want to say welcome to everybody that's new, and just like what Denrick said earlier.
All right, thank you, Devil, bailing on us today.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah,
Brisket's gotta be smoked.
I know, right? I think a member from our support team also wants to talk, so we'll invite Perfect Lies up to say a few words, and then we will take those questions and probably close down the request to speak for now. Perfect.
So just a couple things. One, on the EMS side, just a reminder that any area around a hospital, whether active or not, is a green zone. I know we've had a couple of things that have happened in that area. So just make sure that you are kind of respecting that, that EMS is not to be taken hostage while on duty. And, just kind of go over those rules. I know we mentioned them in the interview process. On the interview process, I just want to say thank you. I don't think we've gone through this many interviews. I think we've done 60 plus in the last 3 days, which we all, some of us have kids, right? We've got full-time jobs in and out of the house. So thank you all for being patient and kind of working with us as we try and get through as many interviews as we can to get you guys into the city as fast as we can.
Thank you. Perfect. I do want to say a big shout out to our interview team and our staff that does interviews, because they have been worked this week, and they've done a great job trying to do as many interviews as possible. I think yesterday alone we had almost 30 people whitelisted through the interview process, so it's pretty intense, the amount of interviews that these guys are knocking out. So definitely big shouts to them. All right, I'm going to answer a few of these questions. Thoughts on adding V-Stancer? We have no thoughts on that right now. I think I'm pretty sure we have we have the ability to add that, as we already have some coding and stuff on that. But we just have no official decision on that, or if we're going to bring it in. I know that Death Hatter has been working hard on vehicle balancing. Was just wondering how things were going on the back end. He's still working on it, so I think there's still like 30 some vehicles that we're working on adjusting handling to, and we're doing that per vehicle. So it's not, well, we're doing a couple of things. So right now we kind of have a blanket boost that goes to all vehicles just to boost top speeds up a little bit. That eventually is going away as some of our members of our dev team kind of work on handling to do everything just through the handling meta, which is not easy. I absolutely hate touching any kind of vehicle meta stuff, as Devil and Adder can attest to. It's like one of the worst things ever to do. So big shout out to them. It is going to take some time, so just kind of bear with us. Do you know why Mumble cuts out? I really like features that come from Mumble and would love it to stay. Mumble, we don't. It's just Mumble. That's all I can really say about that. I do know we are looking at going back to TeamSpeak. We're doing some testing right now on or we're going to be doing some testing this weekend on Salty Chat, which is a plugin for TeamSpeak, just like Toko VoIP, as opposed to Toko VoIP. And if everything goes well with that, when we go back to TeamSpeak, we will be going back to Salty Chat instead, which has some of those same features as Mumble, the echoing, the the phone sounding different, and it also has a few extra things that we can do as well, with radios and actually having radio towers and things like that. So we're kind of looking into Salty Chat at this moment. Fudgy had a question. We'll address that through SOP tickets. We're not going to address that here. What's the community sentiment on adding more DOJ RP to include defense attorneys? We are absolutely looking to do that, as our court system is still kind of figuring out how we want to do it. Eventually, I think Chief would agree that he doesn't want to be the only one that does judge stuff. So the entire court system really needs to kind of be built out a little bit more. We're still in the beginning phases. If you have an interest on becoming a defense attorney, put in a ticket, an SOP ticket. You don't have to write a full SOP on that one, but that's one of the categories that we can kind of easily pull you out of, and we'll have a conversation with you.
That's the easiest thing to do. We're just looking at the whole court system. So if you guys are interested, just let us know, and then I can get with you guys on that.
Yep. I lost my spot. Any chance more cars coming to PDM? Yeah, we still have some GTA base cars that are not in PDM, that we're still working on adding and going through and making sure that they all get there. There's also, excuse me. There's also down the road, I don't have an exact time frame on this, but any imports that come in that don't come through like Tebex or anything like that will be going to a luxury dealership that will be opening as well. I just want to add this, since we're on the topic of car dealerships. There has been a determination made by staff that we're not going to have player-owned car dealerships. However, there is going to be an opportunity for car dealers as a whitelisted job, to where you can actually work at the dealership and get that RP of coming in and buying a car. So that is an opportunity that's going to be opening up maybe sometime this month. We'll hopefully have more to share at the next meeting or through announcements. How long till EMS will be able to know what injuries, etc., or if a person is down and can't talk? I'm having people tell me people have lied about injuries, which can make RP seen bad if you're not treating people for the actual injuries. Yeah, people should really be honest. We did make a change. There was a time where explosions and stuff, you were not getting revived. That's no longer the case now. We are reviving everybody from an EMS standpoint. So tell them what your injuries are, so they can kind of, like, we have some great EMS RP and treatment RP. So be honest with them. Tell them, I was in an explosion. They're going to help you and give you some different treatments based on those injuries. And it's pretty fun. Will WhatsApp feature work on mobile? Currently only phone calls and Twitter work. WhatsApp does work. There's a few kinks with it that we are aware about, and we hope we can patch in a future update. It just has not been something that we've looked at now. I think you just have to send the message twice or something if it doesn't go through the first time, and then it'll start going through. It's weird. We're looking into it, and hopefully we can patch that here in the near future. Will you nerf the beanbag shotgun's effectiveness so that it's not utilized to end scenes instead of letting them roleplay to the logical conclusion? I think Police Command made the decision yesterday that beanbag shotguns are no longer going to be in the loadout for police officers. So with that, they're going to be certifying officers on tasers, if I'm correct. And if somebody from Police Command wanted to expand on that, they can. But beanbag shotguns will not be carried by officers anymore, to my knowledge. Also, can EMS get keys to get all the way to patient in prison and out again? Yeah, put in a ticket on that, Kat, if you can, about keys to going into the gates and stuff. What is the outlook on armor being available to Crimson Civ, seeing as from when what I've heard in character, there's no armor available? Of course, there is joints, but so there is a way to get armor other than just using joints. I'm not going to say what it is, but we are also adding another way, probably this weekend sometime, I would imagine it's going to come out to where you have a chance of getting an armor on doing something. But there is a way to get armor now, so people may want to start searching, because it's definitely there. When is TeamSpeak coming back? I don't have the exact date. We hope sometime this weekend on bringing back TeamSpeak, but we have some testing to do, and today I've been pretty busy, and Adder, I think, has been enjoying some RP instead of being stuck in his development dungeon as well. So hopefully sometime tomorrow we have an update on that. The local car is running out of gas almost instantly. Is that intentional? Most times can't even get to a gas station to get filled again before out. Yeah, we're looking into that. We've noticed that since the big update that's starting to happen. Before I know, before that only happened on occasion, and that's the way that it should be, right? So gas should be a little bit fluctuating, but I've seen instances, and we're doing some more testing. That's all I can really say on that. We're doing some more testing. Yeah, VST answer, that was already answered. Gadzuk, or Lucky Dave is formerly known. Slowly this server is moving over to a DOJ server. I don't know what you mean by that. We're not. We do have a criminal aspect, or a court system building out, but we would not be what most consider a DOJ server. Can we get more cowbells? There you go, old man tree. Or a storm at storm time. I have nothing to share on this weather actually changing at storm time now. Do you guys have a dedicated staff support member who is able to create MLOs? There are few. No, we don't. I wish we did, but we don't. There are a few buildings that I have great business RP ideas for, but cannot find existing MLOs to support. Yeah, we do not have somebody that can actually create MLOs on staff at this current time. I wish we did. Some of us have started an off-road club. What's the stance on vehicle damage to continue this off-road fun? Put in a ticket on that. We've made some changes to the vehicle damage a couple days ago. So, yeah. There may be some more adjustments that we can make to remove a certain class. Or a certain set of vehicles in some situations. What's being done to balance the chance civilians have when going up against the cops? Seems like criminals stand a low to no chance when in a shootout. We've already balanced that a little bit. So with the weapon damage, that's been balanced across the board, and the damage that the two pistols have are actually identical. So just gotta find how to get that armor to level you off, or as more illegal weapons start sprinkling into the city, maybe find those. Again, Fudgy, this is not the place for this discussion. We will discuss that in tickets. Will the city at cap 64 with the city at 64 cap and us seeing the city cap at times, will there be a queue setup prio or a city increase in the horizon? Both. So there is going to be prio that is given based on RP. We're not doing pay for prio here. So you know, we're always watching, and we have some people that excuse me, we have some people that based on their RP, they will be getting added to the prio list down the road as the cap starts to really continue to be a thing. And then also we've already looked at, you know, bumping up and how that's going to look. And we're starting to plan that out as well. Can beanbag be lowered to 75% or 50% to negate it being used to end people's RP with no, I think we just addressed that. Beanbags aren't going to be used by the police except DOC. So when you're in the jail, they'll have beanbags, but not anywhere else. What about prosecution for the court system? Yeah, that's all open. Prosecutors, defense attorneys, we're looking at adding all of that down the road. So we are doing this in phases to where the court system, you know, will be phased in as we've kind of already seen. So you've seen it start with just traffic, and now we're doing a few more things with criminal and expungements, and police are starting to use them to get warrants and things like that. Is there weed seeds in the city to grow your own plants yet? They are in the city. They are not very easy to find. That will be changing in an update, hopefully sometime this weekend, if not Monday. Sorry, man, you missed my question. Do you think there should be a gang unit, as the gang RP looks like it's going to take over a lot of PDs? So our criminal investigations division kind of already comprises of the gang unit. It's going to be part of that. So the command staff actually talked about that yesterday as well, that as gang RP becomes more important, it's still going to report through that same structure, but there may just be formally a gang unit that's part of CID. Also, can there be city slots for police and EMS as it's been at cap with no EMS and little police, etc.? Again, that's going to be based on RP. So we're not going to give prio. So here's why. I'll tell you why that we're not going to give prio or reserve spots just for a job. There's really no great way to do that, number one. And we have found from past experience, when cities put in prio for police or for EMS or for mechanics, right? They tend to not use that prio for that job. So there may be certain police officers or certain EMS that get added to the prio list because they are on their EMS all the time and they're really good with their RP. But we're not going to just blanket give EMS prio or give PD prio. While gang RP is growing in the city, will there be a restriction on the reach of where gang RP pushes, aka limits as far as people not involved in gangs not having to worry about territories, going to the mechanic shop or other popular areas for regular civs? I don't think I have anything to add on that right now. You should be mindful of the areas where a gang is already, in kind of the block that they're on, and you may not want to be there, but like the mechanic shops and things like that are I mean, they're not off limits, but you shouldn't be prevented from going to a mechanic shop or you know, play basketball or whatever because of that. So I think I have a ping in the meeting chat, and then Salty Chat's a lot more stable using another city. Yep. And can work on updating as well as close. Yeah. Yeah, we do have the list of cars, so let's read through here. Could there be less assumption from people about no storylines if the other crew is not even taking the opportunity to get to know the newest gangs? Vagos and Thugs have set on form block for over a year now, and they came into the city to an empty block that looked empty for picking. Literally no gang is in the south side right now. Yeah, so that's one of the other things that I wanted to just kind of address on, right? We should never be assuming somebody doesn't have a storyline. You don't know for anybody, right? You don't know if they have a backstory. You don't know if how they got to where they are, or how they're playing their character now, how they are, right? So we have from both spectrums. We have very new people that are brand new to RP and don't really, you know, are still kind of figuring that stuff out. And then we have people that have had characters that they've played for 4 years. You know, Chief Devil, you know, two of them that have kind of played their cop characters for years now. Me, I had played my cop character for years that has been killed off now, and I'm bringing in a new character with a new backstory. So, I can't wait to go snooping around in Forum Drive. Oh my goodness. I'm really excited for gangs to start building up in the city. Yeah, I think everybody should be. There's a couple more questions. So in the future, will there be a section of Discord where all the gangs can get together and talk away from general? Yeah, that's already in exist. So we already have that section built out, and we're starting to give tags to people. So like the one MC, God's Garbage just got their tags yesterday. Satan's Crayolas has had the tags for a while. And then we kind of have like a generalized gang chat where all of the gangs can kind of get together and talk. So that section's there, and we'll see as we've approved more groups, we're starting to hand out those roles in Discord. So I've noticed something about store robberies and pursuits. Some say it's not fun when the criminals have a must-win mentality. Can you maybe clarify on that? I just don't want to make any mistakes, but if a grind for a bank job, I'm not going to throw it away, you know? Let me see how I want to say that. So what we talk about a lot, right? If you're just robbing a store, like a 24/7, people, you just got to kind of be mindful of when's the right time. Like how far am I really willing to go for a sentence that isn't, extreme, right? Now you're wanted. There's so many variables that can change that. So based on your story and how things are going, you'll kind of know how far you're willing to go. Should every 24/7 robbery end in a shootout? No, it shouldn't. We also just don't want people, when the police get there, there should be negotiation. It shouldn't just be, I want to chase. I want the usual, right? And we talk about that a lot. We talked about that a big portion of our last meeting. Like we don't want to see some things that just kind of give that off as well. Hey, it is what it is. I just want the usual. What are you talking about? What's the usual? And that's kind of how I've always played it off. If somebody says that, or, hey, I want to chase. What do you mean you want to chase? Right. What, you don't just go up to a robbery and you don't ask for a chase right off the bat. You should, think about that and negotiate with the police and then kind of go from there. So, can there be a Discord section to submit a court date request so we can all agree? Yeah, that's coming as well. We're just trying to figure out where we want to fit that into the million channels that we have. So that is coming. That's something Chief has asked for, and it'll probably be in this weekend. Can we get clarification on what you said last meeting in terms of criminals asking for pursuits, etc., when it's just one of them? Lately, people have been robbing stores by themselves and just waiting there for us cops to arrive and ask us for pursuits. Yeah, so we just shouldn't. You shouldn't be asking for a pursuit. So the negotiation goes both ways, right? What do you have that the police want? And what do the police have that you want, right? So you ultimately probably want that pursuit, but you're not just going to say, hey, why don't you just chase me around, right? In some cases that can work, but that should not be the go-to thing every robbery. Like you need to pre-think. And I think that's even in the rules somewhere. Like when you go to do a robbery, you should have thought put into it, right? You need to think about what you're doing and how you're doing the robbery and how you envision it playing out, right? So kind of pre-plan, okay, well, I may want to go this route, right? But know that you even as much as you pre-plan, because it's RP and other people are involved, it may not go that way. So you need to be willing to adapt. But we really should never hear people saying when we get to a robbery, can I have a chase? That's just, it's so awkward. So awkward.
Try to be creative with your negotiations as well, and then that goes for the cop and crim side. Try to get creative with what you're talking about, and from cop and crim side. Have, just like Dender said, try to have a plan together ahead of time of, okay, this is the end goal, but how are we going to get there?
Yeah. Would it be considered cop baiting if you ask for a chase when you get? I don't know how we're dealing with that from a staff perspective at this point. We'll probably have to get back to you on that. I don't know if we're gonna consider that cop baiting or not. We haven't really discussed that. We're just kind of putting out there like, hey, we really shouldn't be hearing this now. Can we touch on the F8 quit option when a character has been caught and brought to yeah, that should never happen. That should never happen. That's the bottom line on that one. You should never be, that's combat logging, and that is against the rules. So do not do that. Now, if something happens, I know we had an instance where a player was involved in the shootout and then his power went out this week. Immediately he went into Discord, and I almost tagged it and said, hey, remember guys, if something like this happens, this is what you should do. Like, he immediately went into Discord on his phone and said, hey, my power just went out. I'm so sorry, or something along those lines. I'm going to get back as soon as I can. Right. So if something happens outside that prevents you from getting back into the game because it wasn't you just going to F8 and quit, then, just let somebody know. We have instances where we'll have somebody, crash, right? Their game will crash. They usually reach out. Sometimes those will come in as a ticket, or somebody will just put in general chat, hey, to the cops that were just on this scene, I crashed, I'm coming back, right? So just feel free in that case to use the Discord, like, hey, I'm coming back. Don't wait for me or whatever. So, and I think he was even going to turn himself into the cops too, if it didn't come back up right away. Is there ever going to be some sort of max number of cops per scene? Previous cities, it was 6 crims, 8 cops. A robbery and a jewelry store with 3 crims and 12 cops outside is a loss for the crims before the scene even starts. We just kind of addressed this. We don't have a cap for how many cops should be on a scene, but police command is aware that it should not be, 1 criminal and we have 20 cops outside. That's not okay. The only thing that we put from a city standpoint a limit on is 3 police cars to a chase that are chasing you. But there could be, a 4th car that's trying to set spike strips or something up in certain situations. But yes, we should not have that huge of an imbalance. And right now we're kind of leaving it to the cops to police that on themselves, or police command to kind of handle. If it becomes an issue, then we'll look into that a little bit more. I'm sorry, just to clarify, so there's 3 cars to a police chase unless one of them is heat. So we do have heat units, or are going to have heat units which are certified, and they are able to join as a 4th car on a pursuit. Other than that, it's 3 cars to a pursuit. Thank you, Devil, for sending me that, because that would no doubt been a ticket. There wasn't, so okay, to clarify on what Angel Sam is talking about, you don't have to stay there and wait the entire time, right? What we have addressed in the meeting is people continuously going from store to store to store, just robbing the store and moving on, right? So if you wait, typically if like I'm going to do a store robbery, I'll wait a couple of minutes in most situations to see if the cops can come. What the cops need to also understand is sometimes you're backed up or whatever, and it's taking you 3 minutes to get to a scene, or 4 minutes to get to a scene, right? 5 minutes to get to a scene, 10 minutes to get to a scene. People aren't going to wait that long, and they shouldn't have to. So there are situations where you're going to get there and clear the store and nobody's going to be there. And that's okay. So if we get done with the job, no cops arrive, we're good to just, yeah, we would prefer, if you're looking for that interaction, right? Because that's what we're all about, that you can sit there and wait for an hour if you want to for a cop to come. Who cares, right? That's up to you. There does need to be a time though where you're like, okay, I just did this robbery. I might hang around here for 30 seconds, a minute, and see if the cops show up so I can talk to them. If not, okay, maybe I'll go to another store. But just kind of be mindful, right, of that. Like, you should not be just doing smash and grab every time, or repeatedly doing smash and grab robberies, I guess is how I want to put that. Questions are slowing down. I'll give another minute or 2 for that. Let's go to the meeting chat. 77. I always prefer to sit and wait for a cop though. Yeah, my character wants to leave ASAP, but I want the interaction. Exactly. Right. It would not. It wouldn't be cop baiting. We just, when you get there for that interaction, right? The first thing that we're saying that we don't want to hear is, "Hey, I want to chase," because it's just awkward, right? So just have some dialogue before going, into the chase, or put. So it's really specific wording we're talking about, right? There's a way to ask for a chase without saying, "I want a chase," right? That's what we don't want to hear. But you may say, well, why don't you follow me down to the docks, right? Or something, you can get the idea across that you want to chase without actually saying, "I want a chase." Just awkward, is kind of what we're going on. But yeah, after a couple of minutes, you're free to go if you wait. Is there a way to set it so there's like a 5 to 10 minute delay between being able to do the store robberies and help prevent the smash and grabs? We can look at that if we need to, but we don't want to add things that we can easily police ourselves as a community, if that makes sense, right? We shouldn't have to take time to code something special in or code delays in for certain things that prevent other people from maybe doing a store robbery, right? So really, it's just something that we as a community can police that ourselves. Like, hey, I just robbed this store. Maybe I'll wait 10, 15 minutes before going to another one. We don't really want to put a cooldown timer on store robberies. We can, but we really don't want to. I'm confused on kidnapping, etc. Can you defend yourself, or is that against the rules? So you do have to fear for your life. So in most cases, right, you're going to be standing there and you're not going to have a gun out or whatever. And somebody's going to come up to you and point a gun to you and say, hey, I want, or hey, put your hands up, and take you at that point. At that point, you need to fear for your life, and you can't just pull out a gun and start shooting. I hope that clears that up for you, Keith. Joey, in terms of the cop prio, can you make it where cops have to fill a hourly time? If they don't, then they lose the prio. Yeah, that's probably what we're gonna do. For any like police or EMS that we put on prio, like they have to be playing that character a certain amount of time, or they're gonna lose it. That is exactly what we're gonna do for those cops that get prio, or even EMS that get prio. What about kidnapping the same person within 5 minutes? What about it? I mean, if you were just kidnapped and they take you to a store or something and they immediately kidnap you again, like, how did that happen, right? So there's just kind of more of a, how does that happen? Can we please keep real life issues out of the city? I can't count happening times. I've had a patient come in and have nothing but an attitude, argue with me. The same thing has happened with certain officers. Seems like it happens more after the 10 p.m. storm. We all have IRL issues we struggle with. I come into the city, get away. Exactly. Yeah, if you're having a really bad day, like we tell you this a lot, if you're having a bad day and you've had a horrible week, you have a whole bunch of stuff going off, sometimes it's not good for you to be in the city. Or we've even said maybe you should go, if you need to relax a little bit, try fishing or something. Like do something where you're still in the city getting away, because your mind can go away from that, but you're not necessarily doing something where that real life situation is going to affect your RP. It should never affect your RP. We'll take a couple more questions. We're coming up on the hour mark, and we usually try and keep these to about an hour. So we'll let a couple of questions come in, and then we're going to kind of close things down. Can we double tap on all green zones currently recognized by city council so the word can be passed? But yeah, so any hospital, so we just made a change to this week. Only hospitals, whether they are active or not, are considered a green zone, and it's the block where the hospital is. So, for instance, Mount Zona, right, is huge. It's actually on like 2 city blocks. That whole area of just where the hospital is a green zone. Once you get into the roads around there, it's not. So just remember, you cannot do any criminal activity on hospital grounds, whether that hospital is active or not. So right now we have active hospitals is Sandy Shores, Polito. I think we still have that one up and running right now for now. And Mount Zona are the 3 hospitals that we have interiors and that you may be taken to. Pillbox Hill, because that's still a hospital, just that part where Pillbox is would be considered a green zone. And then also the only other hospital that I can think of off the top of my head right now is the one that a lot of places uses, the morgue, which is right down by the by the impound lot. That block right there would be a green zone. And that's all that city council recognizes. And I think there's one more hospital somewhere in the city that we would consider a green zone as well. But yeah, so all hospitals are green zones. You cannot take somebody hostage, steal their vehicle or whatever. Also, you can never steal an emergency service vehicle, fire truck, police car, or ambulance. At this time, you can never steal one of those vehicles. Hopefully that clears that up. Newbie might have been asked and answered. What is the mindset behind weapons breaking so easily? I get not being able to shoot 400 rounds on a scene, but carrying 3 to 4 pistols. Yeah, so we made an adjustment to that, and it should be significantly better to where those weapons aren't breaking down as easily. I'll be honest. So it looked, when I went in and changed it, or when I went in to check that, I think numbers just got reversed on a couple of weapons. So we fixed that, and you should be able to carry a weapon more frequently. I think I shot off 100 rounds in the test server and still had like 20-30% on the weapon. So about 120 rounds is what it has converted to. And that also goes for police. So their weapons also decay at the same rate. Can we talk about what's expected of stores as well? Sometimes we can get into some RP and either you get out or you don't due to the nature of the RP, but sometimes the cop just isn't having it. If we don't have a hostage and don't want to RP it to a conclusion, just ready to bust in, getting a hostage for a convenience store is weird. It is weird. So there needs to be that balance to where, you may come in and the police know, the police on a convenience store. Oh, sorry, I'm getting text messages and it's throwing me off. The police on a convenience store should have a little bit more flexibility on letting people away or letting people get into a chase, right? There should be more flexibility on that. But there are situations where the police, especially as SWAT is trained and certified, there may be situations where you just get the luck of the draw and they may actually breach. So just be mindful that can happen. It should not happen every time though. Can we get a rundown of what was spoken about, addressed in the meeting so that those who couldn't attend, I am recording this meeting and we'll publish it to YouTube later today. So it'll be up on my YouTube channel later today, as always. So hospitals are green zone. Yep. Will there be a system for licensing certain jobs such as flying or trucking? In one night, I had 6 people get into a plane immediately after someone else, resulting in an explosion and usually 2+ dead. Yeah. So the plane explosion thing was on the dev team. There was, with the new damage system, one of the planes is just not working properly. So we've removed that plane from the rotation and we should see less explosions while we look to add that back. With that being said, there is flight permits and commercial driver's license, fishing license, all of that stuff is coming. We're just not there yet. Okay, there seems to be some confusion with PD leaving scenes. A lot are leaving in the middle of a scene to go chase the jewelry store being hit. I've had a few officers leave in the middle of a chase or a scene to go to the jewelry store robbery. Yeah, so what we always tell our police is you do not have to leave one scene to respond to another. With that being said, if there's 5 cops on a store robbery and the jewelry store gets hit, 3 of those cops should pull off and go to the jewelry store. The only exception. So we do kind of want everybody to remember, if there's FIB on the scene, so Chief, myself, Devil, or Mike, if we are on the scene, we don't really count towards the active police on scene requirement, right? When we do respond to robberies and stuff with guys, there may be a point where we tell the police just, hey, go chase, we'll clear the store, right? Getting them to do the chase, and then we'll kind of just take over and clear the stores. Or, you know, we may break off and go and handle a robbery for somebody, but the FIB has a specific job that we are doing, to where, like, the other night we had the scene where FIB kind of stayed and was handling the weed place of business which is coming in. You know, we gave those guys a hard time because they were way over the federal limit for having weed on premises. So like that scene ended up being, I think, almost 2 hours that we were involved in just that one thing. So FIB is kind of the exception to the rule because of what our premise is and what we are doing. But yes, if there are 5 cops on a scene, you know, a store robbery, 3 should probably go off and go to the jewelry store. When is the fire department coming in? We have nothing to share on that now. We've always said sometime in July, and that's what we're keeping it to. Any news on FD? Yeah. So we have nothing to share on that right now. We have said sometime in July, and we hope to keep that too. Would Grandma's be a green zone? Grandma's is not a green zone because that is not a recognized hospital. And with that, I think we're going to close down the questions unless somebody sneaks one in there real quick. All right. I think that's it, Chief. Or I know Devil is kind of away, but do either of you have anything that you wanted to add? Or I know Blevins is in the chat. I don't know if he had anything that he wanted to add. He's kind of away this week or for a couple of weeks as well. He's another one of our staff members. With just silence, I think we'll go ahead and end that community meeting. And ranch or blue cheese? Ranch. No blue cheese. No, can't do blue cheese. Ranch, 100%.
Yes, blue cheese.
No, that's gross.
Yeah, hell yeah.
No.
So,
No. The Crown Vic, yeah. So we fixed the textures on the Crown Vic, and then now there's a lighting issue, which I'm gonna have to pass off to Devil because I don't do carcels and stuff like that. I don't do that stuff. That's where I draw the line on my development, is anything with vehicle stuff. Devil, I'll talk to you about that later, but now the Crown Vic spawns in and there's no red or blue lights. So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll take care of it. I'm away today, but hopefully I'll take a look at it tomorrow and we can get a fix for it.
Also just adding, the police bikes, I screwed up. I know Death Adder put out the update for us yesterday. I did 2 things on that update, and one of them I screwed up on, and I put the wrong spawn code in. So there are police bikes, and we will push that update to the live server at 4 p.m. today. So the police bikes are actually going to be available for people today. So I apologize to also, Nitro and One Stone, who I told that they were in there. I really, really apologize for that. It was my screw up.
Also, I just like to thank our staff and support team, development team. You guys have been doing an absolutely amazing job. So I just want to say thank you.
Blevins did hop up onto the stage. Blevins, did you have something that you wanted to say? I'll take.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you now.
Okay, I just want to make sure I hopped up and then I was walking and I realized it was cutting in and out. I just want to reiterate and remind everybody, like, you know, this has been a server where we've wanted new people to have an opportunity to come in and play. We want different styles of RP to kind of come together and try new things. So I really want to encourage you guys to be really kind because we are trying to create a community. And help people out. When you put in a ticket, especially if it's the first ticket you've had with somebody, if it's the first interaction and it didn't go great, it's a ticket about helping people learn, not like, hey, this person needs to go. You know what I mean? Like these are tickets about helping them learn and understanding what we're looking for and how we're all going to do this together well and stuff like that. Because I mean, we built this to be a good community, and it has been. It has been a great community, and I've been really disappointed to hear some of the things that people have said and stuff, because that's not who we are. The more people that are coming in and doing good things, the better it is for all of us. So let's try to help and work with each other and get to a place where we're all doing good things, and we're all working with each other, knowing that, you know, sometimes things are going to go wrong, sometimes they're going to go right, sometimes you're going to do everything right and it's still going to be a little bit of a mess. You know, it just happens in role play. There's so much improv. So I just want to see that. I want to see that lineage spirit come out, where we're encouraging each other and helping each other out, and bringing people in and trying new role play stuff with people that we don't necessarily know. That's all I have.
All right. I think that's a great way to end the meeting, unless Chief has something to say. And we'll say his silence is going once, going twice, going thrice. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming out today. If anybody has any other questions, I will be hit and miss today, but you can feel free to put in a ticket if you have some questions, or reach out to any staff members. Oh, wait, I think there was one more person. Yeah. No. Okay. Hang on. Now I'm getting DMs. Yeah, no, you can't get a Maserati mic. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Have a good one. Tomorrow's event is the 4th of July parade. We're doing it tomorrow at noon Eastern, which, if you click on the announcement for the meeting, yes, this is Saturday. Just add a day for your time zone, or add. It'll be the same time for most time zones, except for our people in like Australia, where you guys are just weird. Or just go to every date and time and pick the date yourself for Eastern time. Anyway, we are meeting Devil at the courthouse. Is that
City? We're going to meet at City Hall.
Oh, City Hall. I'm
Meet at
sorry.
City Hall. Yep. The parade route will go down to Maze Bank Arena, back up to Little Seoul, and to the pier, where we'll have some fireworks and I don't know. You want to give away a car?
I don't. We haven't given away a car in game in a
We haven't
while.
given away a car.
Everything
I
that
know.
we've done lately has been in Discord. So we may give away
give away
a
a couple.
car. Yeah, we may give away a couple cars tomorrow. Pantos, right? Definitely Pantos.
Definitely Pantos. Definitely.
Yeah, no, we could give away a couple of cars. Yeah, I like that. But the parade, there's fireworks. We're gonna have a lot of fun tomorrow. And I hope you all can join us for that. With that, I am going to end that. Yeah, my YouTube channel will post the video sometime this evening. I have some running around that I need to do that I can't post it now. So I will post the VOD up there. It's just, this one's just going to be a big picture of Lineage RP because I didn't show off any of the questions or anything. My bad. I realize now that I just left it on the Lineage RP screen. So it is what it is. Guys, have a good one. Hope to see you all in the city later today. I'm out. Have a good one. We're done. Bye.